Hi Pisces, welcome to your December 2019 tarot card reading. Thank you guys so much for being here. So I've already pulled out the cards, and the energy that first came out for you guys specifically is the Knight of Wands, right? So this is the Piscean energy. If you're dealing with a Pisces, this is your person. So the Knight of Wands, which you'll see when I put the camera down, is actually running away from like all the other cards. He's very much facing a completely different direction. And I think this Jupiter and Capricorn transit really sobered us up, like in a really big way. It was, I don't know that we really were expecting that kind of shift, and maybe you haven't really noticed it in your life, but I feel like there was this very heavy blanket that came in and just said, it's time to focus. And the Knight of Wands, I think, has a very determined nature, that there are certain kind of career transitions, friend group transitions, romance transitions that you're really, really hoping to make. And it's kind of like this very heavy hand coming down and saying, now is the time. The Knight of Wands is not afraid to put effort into stuff. You know, he's going to point his arrow in a certain direction and just go on that path without a lot of regard of like what people think about him or what people are judging or even the obstacles. It's just like, you know what, let's just go for it, because what have I got to lose at this point? I have this feeling that given the card scenario that you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. And your goals, whatever they are your saving grace. They are the thing that are going to kind of pull you up or help you to transcend whatever is kind of going on down below. And I see like you up on the top of a bridge sort of watching the water go by, and I think there are people involved, and those are kind of the people that you need to just like let them go by. So the goals are super important, the ambitions, what you're hoping to achieve, and you know the environment is ripe for you to actually start really manifesting these things into your reality. 2019 was such an interesting year because as much as we would like to talk about 2020 and like how great that is and how what could come and the Pluto return and Saturn Pluto stuff, as much as we would like to talk about that, it's probably a good time to really reflect on what 2019 meant for you. Like, what did you learn this year? How far have you really come? And what is it that started to make sense for you? What kind of patterns did you acknowledge and recognize? And what kind of patterns did you start breaking? And the Empress is here to say, you know what? It's really time for you to actually step into that which you deserve. She is, Venus here, right? The symbol of Venus. She is a goddess after all. And male or female, I don't care. The goddess energy is fully receptive. And I think she's in this mode of like, I'm ready for life to be easy. I'm ready for life to just come to me. I'm ready for the money to come to me because I know I'm valuable. Not to say that the Knight of Wands energy isn't going to go to work, but he's going to go to work in kind of like a jolly kind of way. Like, let's go have fun with this. Let's go play with life a little bit. And the Empress is like, good, yeah, go do that. And I'll make sure that we reap the harvest. Okay, so, really great way to start off the reading. Two really optimistic and kind of free-flowing energies, which is such a Piscean thing. And right now we've got Mars trining Neptune. So I think there is this very Neptunian, idyllic, happy, anything is possible kind of vibe going on for Pisces right now. First card that came out in the 9-card block is the 10 of Wands. Now, when I first started, I said, I think you guys are kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, and it's your goals that are your saving grace. Now, this is the part of life that you're probably pretty fed up with. You're trying to lighten your load, get that weight off of your shoulders so that you can move forward the way a Knight of Wands, like he travels light, like he's not carrying a 50-pound bag on that airplane. He's the kind of guy that just has like a little, 5-pound duffel bag with a pair of pants and like 2 t-shirts, right? He travels real light. And I think that you're kind of, ready to travel lighter, whether it's into your next relationship, Some relationships, it's kind of funny how we come together specifically for healing, and then once we're healed, we kind of just move on, you know? And I'm wondering if now you're ready for like the real deal. Now, why am I saying this whole rock and a hard place thing? Let's get this out of the way real quick. Because on the one hand, some of you might still find yourself at the 10 of Wands place, carrying a lot of stuff, but you're trying to move on. But I don't like the directionality of how the 8 of Cups here is walking straight into the King of Swords. It's almost as though you're trying to get away from one thing, but by trying to get away from something, you kind of just go straight into the arms of someone who's probably really not the best for you. It's so important for you to extract, unless this is your children, I'm not talking about your kids, okay? If you are dealing with a business person, a friend, a lover, it's probably best for you to start defining life on your own terms and not necessarily incorporating them unless they're totally 100% on the same page. This guy is not on the same page as the Knight of Wands, right? Which is why the Knight of Wands is running away from him, okay? He's not on the same page, and he doesn't represent what you want. This could be a shadow aspect of yourself. This is completely mirroring the Aquarius reading, which I did yesterday. And because Aquarius is in your 12th house, it's especially relevant to you. It's really important that you don't just believe someone, okay? I don't want to see Pisces, getting taken advantage of, kind of falling for something. Sometimes you can like really fall. It almost kind of feels like a practical joke sometimes, the King of Swords. I say the King of Swords and the King of Cups are really good at making people feel like they just fell for a joke. And you're like, wait, is this punks? Like, is Ashton Kutcher gonna come jumping out of the door back there? Like, what's happening right now? Like, is this for real? And I would say, no, it's not for real. I don't like this energy coming out, and I don't even quite know why. I think people are really facing their shortcomings right now, and if they are not solid in their femininity or their masculinity, women can get emasculated too, if they're not fully rooted in themselves, they are like gonna start grasping and trying to take that from other people, and in so doing, it's very likely that they could try to bring you on board. And I don't want to see you leaving one kind of heavy situation and just kind of walking straight into the next because it seems like a good deal. It's not a good deal. Really, really, really keep things on track. See, the one thing I love about a Knight of Wands, can we just talk about the fact that this is actually a Sagittarius energy? We know how smart the Sagittarius energy can be, right? If you've ever had a conversation with the Sagittarius, they usually really know what they're talking about. A lot of some of the most successful business people that I used to work with when I was in like the office world, they were all Sagittarians, and they kind of had the component of like the business sense, and they knew how to develop relationships, so they kind of had both things going for them. But they were never ones to like get wrapped up in some kind of a con or something, like they knew what was a good deal, they knew what was legit, they knew who was telling them the truth and who was lying, they knew when there was something going on, and they just really knew how to pay attention to their intuition. Pisces can get a little tricky with their intuition because of the whole boundaries, or lack thereof rather, because of Neptune, right? The Neptunian rulership. And we do have Neptune sitting smack dab in the middle. It's literally at 15 degrees right now, almost 16 degrees of Pisces. So, there's still that kind of tendency to just want to have faith in the goodness in people, which usually isn't a bad thing. But because he's coming out, I'm like, just be tempered. If this person isn't 100% on your path, it's best to go your own path, all right? Because I would just hate to see anybody, not Pisces, but anybody just kind of going from one thing and then just moving straight into the same thing, like without even realizing. So why am I saying this about your intuition? Because of this right here. and then the Knight of Wands reversed, which came out directly in the center of the reading. So here's like your shadow, right? This is kind of that part of you that you've been working so hard on identifying, working so hard on trying to break the patterns and all of this. But this is that tendency that we have to just go straight back right into it. And the Knight of Wands reverse can work himself up into a tizzy, work himself into a frenzy, get overly excited about prospects without really sitting for like a minute and being like, how do I like legit feel about this? The High Priestess is that feeling of like, you need to sit with this. You need to think about it. You need to understand how your body is reacting. I'm not saying this King of Swords is a bad person, all right? It might not even be a person. It could just be a situation or like some kind of drama that's going on with some other people that really is none of your business. Knight of Wands likes to get, especially when he's reversed, right? This is the shadow Knight of Wands. He likes to get all involved. He likes to know what's going on. He likes to play. He likes to trigger people. Like, we're talking a Sagittarius energy, right? They like to trigger people. No offense to any Sagittarians out there, but like the dark side of Sagittarius can be like super metally and really dramatic and all of that. And they, you know, we can all take on this archetype. Knight of Wands, he's tricky, man. And when you're playing with this energy within yourself, you know, there is still a chase of like the fun still going on. Like, this guy likes to, he enjoys working hard. He enjoys achieving goals. He enjoys setting a goal and going after it. And he enjoys the journey, like legitimately. But this one just likes to like shoot randomly at stuff. He's very disorganized. So if you find yourself getting a little disorganized, even if that is just, you know, like putting off your email for 3 days, right? Make sure you keep that structure going. I know that as much as we, you know, like to see Jupiter and Capricorn, you know, bring on all of this abundance, which there's absolute potential for, sometimes we do need to change our methodology, right? When we move things into a Saturn-ruled sign, which Jupiter is going to be in a Saturn-ruled sign for like a long time, right? Because Capricorn, and then also Aquarius is also Saturn-ruled as well. So there's, you know, several years in front of us where we're going to have this Saturnian quality with our growth, with our abundance. Like, yeah, you can have it. It's here. It's ripe for the taking, but you have to work for it. It's not going to be manifested like willy-nilly, okay? You can still manifest, but it requires the effort. And again, same thing. It's almost like a double of the 2 cards that are just directly above them, right? Knight of Wands and the 8 of Cups moving in the same direction, and then the 5 of Swords is right under the King of Swords, which tells me the King of Swords is not grounded in good intentions. That's why I'm saying all of this, right? And the King of Swords is not grounded. He's not, doesn't have the best intentions. He's willing to just kind of play. He just kind of wants to play with people right now, so that he can get what he wants. And this is the part of you that's just like, okay, yeah, let's go for another ride. You want to go for another ride? Great. Black Moon Lilith has been in your sign almost all year, and it's time for, you know, really to step into that power, to step into that self-assertiveness. One thing I love about Black Moon Lilith is she just genuinely does not need anybody. I don't know if anyone knows the myth behind, it's like a Jewish myth, part of the old books. You know, she was said to be the very first wife of Adam, right? And because she didn't want to have sex in a certain way, right, getting underneath, she was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And so Adam like told on her, and she got cast out of the garden. And that's when God gave Adam Eve, who was a lot more submissive. So Black Moon Lilith does not stand down. She doesn't stand down. She doesn't get fooled. She's not playing other people's games. Like, she has this sense of surety. And that's one thing I love about how she affects our charts. It's like when you feel sure, you know, and because this is your sign, Pisces, to feel sure in yourself, to feel sure in who you are, that's the blessing of Black Moon Lilith, having traveled through your sign. So now the last row here are kind of some quiet cards. You may kind of go through a little bit of tumultuousness And then it all kind of simmers down. Four of Swords as well. Whenever I see this card, it's always kind of an energy of taking stock in what's relevant, you know, because you're already in the process of doing this, which is exactly what you should be doing, because I know you know that you can't take that baggage on this horse with you, right? It's not going to fit. There's not enough room for that luggage there. So you gotta do the Ten of Wands reverse. You have to. And then once you do, some of you are going to try to fill it up. Okay, well, I get rid of it now. Let me fill it all back up. And some of you are just going to sit with the emptiness and actually revel in the clarity, revel in the cleanliness of your soul, of your emotions, of your thoughts. And I think you're going to find a sense of purity within yourself as well, if you allow that. This is all dependent on if you allow it. If you don't allow it, then you'll just kind of, it'll be the same and your life won't change at all. You know, it'll just be the same story. So the Four of Swords is quiet, meditative, but also reflective, When I was saying, you know, sometimes it's great to look ahead, but let's look behind us too and acknowledge what we've learned, acknowledge the things that we've gone through, acknowledge how far we've come, because that will encourage us to point this arrow in a new direction that is entirely different than what we're used to. Page of Swords reversed in line directly with all of these sword cards. This guy or this situation could be an in and out thing, you know, like they show up and then they disappear. Honestly, this Page of Swords reversed, I just would, you know, you can obviously do whatever you want, but it is in your best interest to probably not communicate, to not allow certain lines of communications to be open, to not allow things to be said, and to not allow anyone to do anything. This might be someone, I know that there's a very typical tarot interpretation of this card, which is like someone spying on you. Maybe for some of you that's definitely the case, or you're spying on them. Like, get off social media, turn your phone off for a minute, you know, and just kind of free yourself up of that kind of energy. Anything toxic, really, anything toxic. The minute you start feeling that knot in your stomach, that's a symptom, right? Our body is so intelligent, and it does speak to us on like a minute-to-minute basis of like, what's going on? What's your intuition saying? What are your emotions doing? What are your thoughts doing? How are your actions impacting you? Don't ignore them, okay? I felt like this sounded like a lecture. I really didn't mean for it to be a lecture. I really didn't. I don't know why it came out that way. I think I'm just a little bit worried because I just don't want to see anyone get duped. You know what I mean? Like, don't get duped. All right, I'm going to let you guys with that. Let's go ahead and put the camera down and we'll continue pulling out the cards for the comprehensive. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in a sec. Okay, Pisces, let's pull a couple oracle cards specifically for the Knight of Wands, just to kind of get more context into your energy a little bit. So let's pull one from the Psychic Tarot. Shadow. Oh my God, what did I just say? The shadow. It's kind of like the moon energy almost, the kind of dark underbelly of who we are. Again, it's perfectly in line with the Aquarian reading, which is, you know, your 12th house, which is the house of your subconscious, which is also your natural house. So there's a lot of Piscean, Aquarian stuff going on, very interconnected with one another at this particular moment in time. So, you know, you are kind of having to face, it's even here, it's definitely here. Look, upright, reverse, directly in the center where you need to go, you know, because this is ultimately the environment, like I said. So the environment is, it's like plush. It's very nutrient. The soil is rich. It's ready for the seeds to be planted. And this guy is all about going and planting new seeds, you know? He's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go do this new stuff, which I know you're wanting to, because as you're working on this, you're getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and probably happier and happier, or more peaceful anyway. And it's time for you to just do that. And to just be that, because I think the Knight of Wands is like a more pure, authentic self that's not disturbed and not disrupted by anybody else's nonsense, you know? Let's look at a Wisdom of the Oracle, a loyal heart. Now, lately, I've been interpreting this as loyal to oneself. you know, loyal to what you know to be true, loyal to the calling of the soul. See, you know you have to walk away from something. There's even the shadow, there's even the moon right there, and here's the moon here. A lot of shadow energies. So you know you have to walk forward. You know you have to do this. And I think the energy is like Pisces, like shoving you in the new direction. But yet at the same time, you know, like just because this might be a new person or something doesn't mean it's new. So it's the intelligence, the emotional and the intuition intelligence to know the difference. To know the difference between when you're heading here and when you're heading to where you really are trying to get to in the first place. Okay, now let's go ahead and start clarifying. So the cards I'm about to pull, I'm going to talk about in the comprehensive reading. So if you want to join me there, the link will be down in the description box down below. I'm also super sorry for my delay, you guys. I was moving and then Thanksgiving and then just really, really not connecting with the cards. It's been an interesting, definitely been an interesting few weeks for me. Just really got weird there for a minute. So nothing bad, like nothing with people, just my spiritualness stuff. Let's take a look at this Knight of Wands here. There's such a soft quality with that Page of Coins right now, which I love. See, be careful with the tokens that people try to give you. Ooh. The Ace of Cups is the truthful thing. Why do I always get such a shady vibe from the Page of Coins lately? I don't know why that's been the thing. Getting such a shady vibe from the Page of Coins. See, you know, I know you're following that rainbow. You're following the tendency, that you're following the natural order of the way things are unfolding. And the wisdom to know the difference. I'm reminded of the prayer, what is it called? The Serenity Prayer. Grant me the wisdom to know the things, I don't know it word for word, but grant me the wisdom to know the things I cannot change and the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Is that what it, something like that? Speaking of shadow, you may even want to watch the Aquarius reading just because it's so connected. Yeah, another King of Swords to clarify the King of Swords. Actually, the Virgo energy, I don't even know why, because we don't have any planets in Virgo right now. But for some reason, the Virgo energy is, maybe it's more Capricorn, but it's that ability to take it step by step, day by day, call by call, and not project too far forward in any way, shape, or form. Pisces, because the intuition is so strong, does have a tendency to like make assumptions and really jump to conclusions really fast. So it's probably best to like say, okay, my intuition is saying this, that's fine, but let's also take it at face value at the same time. Let's not read too deep into things. Okay. Another Four of Swords, we got the Moon. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to pull out so many. That's fine, we'll just take them. Let's pull out a couple for the Empress. Ooh, ooh, we love that at the bottom too. Okay, so these are going to be the cards that we'll talk about. Again, the link will be down below in the description if you want to join me. Thank you guys so much. Have an excellent month, and I will see you in a couple weeks. Thanks.